What's going on, everyone? This is Noah from Spanky the Sparky. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Roger Medeiros out of IBEW Local 1186 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Roger, how's it going?
Going good, going good. Happy to be here.
Good. Before we begin, there's quite a few things I personally want to know, but give us a little insight about you, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. You're obviously an IBEW member, but anything else that you feel comfortable sharing for the interview is always appreciated.
IBW 1186 is not too big. I believe there's close to 3,000, somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500 members altogether. So we're
It's
not
pretty
really,
cool.
really small, but we're not really, really big either. There's some places like in California, like significant, like 5 times as big and things like that. But yeah, so it's kind of a place where kind of everybody knows each other. The islands aren't too big, so people know of each other, or a lot of people are related to one another because it's so small of a place.
But you were born and raised in Honolulu, on the west side, it sounds like. How did growing up there shape your work ethic and the way you see the community today?
Ooh, good question, actually. The area where I'm from specifically, there's a lot of blue collar black background families, very family oriented. So a lot of people there are really just trying to make a living for themselves and their families, and it's a pretty tight knit area. People either know each other, related to each other, kind of same story across the islands in general, but more specifically out there, just early in the morning. There's 2 lanes going out, 2 lanes coming in, so you just see everybody on the road early, early in the morning trying to get out, and then the end of the day, especially around like 5 p.m., 5:30, everybody's trying to get back in. So it's a small place, but it takes hours to traverse because everyone's trying to get in, everyone's trying to get out, and so I've always had that example around me, like my family. There's like 3 generations of like big rig drivers before me, so I kind of broke the
Wow.
mold in some ways,
Yeah,
and
that's pretty cool.
went a different direction. But they had a small trucking company called Medeiros Trucking, like my last name,
Oh, nice.
with trucking, and I always saw what it was like to get your hands dirty and make a living doing so. So wasn't too foreign for me to try to check it out for myself and go this route. This is the only thing in my family that nobody knows how to do electrical work. That was kind of my thought process of like maybe I should pick up a skill that nobody else has, you know. So
Yeah,
that was kind of my biggest thing for going this direction.
that's awesome. You mentioned you went to a private Christian school and you dropped out in the 10th grade, earned your GED.
Yeah.
Looking back, what did that experience teach you about resilience and taking responsibility for your own path? Because I've encountered quite a few people working in the trades that taking responsibility as a whole is a large thing. You've obviously taken a little different of a path that most people don't take, but you've become pretty successful in your own ways. Uh, I guess if you want to touch on that at all.
Yeah, yeah. It's not too it's not too challenging to go from going to school every day, going from that to going to work every day. In some ways, it's better because you pick up some skills earlier. Not that I'm endorsing anybody just drop out of high school or anything like
Yeah,
that, but that was just my experience. Like I was able to learn more skills more quicker, I guess, than the average person, and just
yeah,
at like 16 years old, I remember. Well, actually, no, I was 18, and I was like a laborer at a company that my uncle owns, and they had a contract with the U.S. Army here in Hawaii. We have
that's
every branch of the military here,
yeah,
um, and the Coast Guard. Some people argue military or Department of Defense, whatever, but we have every branch. We have every installation here, and I worked at an Army base at 18 years old. I was making like it was like $45 an hour, I think it was, like at that
that's
time.
awesome.
And to have like $100 at that age is a big deal, but to be making that at that age is like, dang, I
Yeah.
have some money to like move around, and I was not wise with it. I remember making it and then using it, and then later on I was like, dang, I should have kept a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, financial choices aside, then it was something I learned as I grew a little older. But yeah, so that's kind of where it kind of led me. I kind of started picking up workforce skills a little quicker than your average person, and my dad was pretty instrumental in that. He taught me all kinds of things. Taught me like how to do some plumbing, some soldering,
Yeah.
just how to like work hard and like be proud in what it is you're doing. And it's not always the hardest route that has to be the way to do the job. You can always think it out sometimes too. It's better to work smarter than harder. We hear that all the time.
That's
But
that's very true.
yeah, he was a he was a thinker for sure, and still in my life, still very instrumental, and very good relationship with him still. And yeah, owe a lot of credit to him and the amount of time he put into me as well. And then of course he had to be the one to deal with me not knowing the things I didn't know, right, and teaching me those
Yeah.
things. So yeah, a lot of patience on his end too.
That's awesome. You mentioned your faith is a big part of your life and you're involved in leadership at church. How does that faith carry over into how you show up on the job site and in the apprenticeship?
Yeah, so um, funny enough, on my hard hat, I have a sticker that was given to me by someone. She went on, I believe it's like a 3-year mission trip.
Oh,
But
wow.
basically, she's going all around the world to be able to like share the gospel with people, the good news of Jesus. And one thing that she did was she fundraised. I think she sold the stickers for like $2 or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
my hard hat's in the car. But anyway, I'll just describe it as best I can. Um, it's it's like a taro plant, and it says that it says rooted in Christ on top of it, and that's like
That's awesome.
right there on the forefront of my hard hat. So it's kind of like whether I like it or not, it's kind of the standard that is set before me. People see that first when they see me,
Yeah.
like they look me in the eye and they see that, and whether they have a faith or not, they understand that like there's a standard that I
Yeah.
hold myself to, and that like God's word holds me to. And because of that, like in my church specifically, we have a really good mix like congregation. Being here in Hawaii, there's like it's very diverse.
Yeah.
It's like a true melting pot, and we have like every ethnicity, every age, every cultural background, just all in one place. And we have a pretty good young adult, like between the ages of like 18 to 33 age range. So about like a third of the congregation is like in that age range somewhere.
That's awesome.
Um, so it's a lot of people my age, my peers, and in that specifically, like I partner with a good friend of mine. We're volunteers, but we're directors of the young adults ministry specifically. So
That's
that
awesome.
gives us a chance to kind of not just grow more in our own faith, but to kind of help others along as well too, growing in their own faith as well too. Just like with any trade or any skill you learn, like an apprenticeship, there's a time of learning and a time of being brought up and learning more and more about the skill or the trade or the craft that you're in, and just being
That's
able
true.
to be more equipped in that. I think that Jesus was like, he had like the original apprenticeship, perhaps. Like
Yeah.
he had his guys follow him around and learn from him. He had 12 apprentices, man. Just imagine how frustrating that would be on like any job site.
That's
Pretty
true.
sure that ratio will be off. That's not the correct ratio to have,
Yep.
but yeah. So that's the same thing. Like same thing in faith is the same thing in life. It's like all of it connects and all of it is transferable, and it's very cool to be able to like step into that, teach others, and help others grow, and then show up at work and just be the student, right? Being an apprentice and uh, understanding like no matter what my experience, no matter what my background is, there's always somebody who knows something else.
That's true.
and just being open and willing to be taught, and then also like being willing to understand that something might not be useful, you know,
That's true.
as
That's
well. Like
extremely
just
true.
because someone shares something doesn't mean that you have to take it with you, you know, whether it be poor attitude or maybe poor work ethic or overlooking small things today and things like that. So
I
all in all,
agree.
I think working is a verse, Colossians 3:23, that basically is like the Lord is your boss. Like as a Christian, like so if you're in the corner by yourself, you're not on your phone because you're still working for God. You're not
That's
wasting
true.
time doing things like that because even though you're like your supervisor is not around, the journeyman's not around, that doesn't mean that God's not around and you're not being held to a higher standard. So that's
That's
something
true.
that's like applicable every aspect of life, no matter what's going on.
That's very true. That's a different perspective, but you make a lot of good points with that. Before the trades, you bounced through multiple jobs and even had a potential path in film as a cameraman. What ultimately made you walk away from that and choose the electrical trade instead? 'Cause that's a unique career change. That's something I
Yeah,
don't hear too often.
yeah. I always okay. Really quick, funny story before I answer that question. There
Yeah.
was a when I first joined the trade, the first job I was on, I would wear my old my film set shirts from my time in film, and I had like
Yeah.
bright shirts. I had like a bright Hawaii Five-O film crew shirt. I had like a bright
That's cool.
NCIS Hawaii film crew shirt, and that was I could still wear it at work because it was high vis, it was bright, so I just wore it
Yeah.
at work. And there was this drywaller. Um, he every time I'd walk by, he'd be like, "Where'd you get that shirt? Where'd you get that shirt?" And I explained to him like, "Oh yeah, I just last month I was on a film set, and this month, here I am on a job site, right?" Like,
Yeah.
and he's like kind of explained to him the whole work situation and whatnot, and he's like, "Wow, like that's pretty cool. So you're like a movie star?" And I was like, "No, no, I was never in front of the camera. I was always behind the camera." I explained to him, and then for the rest, I think I was on that job for like 4 or 5 months.
That's
Anytime I
awesome.
saw him in the hallway or wherever, he's like, "Hey, movie star. Hey, good morning, movie star." He always like point me out, and he would refer to me as movie star to other people as well too. He's like, "Hey, movie
That's
star
funny.
said we're gonna be doing this over here now." Like, so I'd always get a good laugh out of that. But yeah, I'm not even sure if he knew my actual name. Now that I think about it, he always called me movie
that's
star.
that's funny.
But yeah, so I made the transfer from that. I applied to the apprenticeship in when was it? I think it was during COVID. Actually, it was 2020 if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, nice.
And it took a year and 11 months, and then they gave me a call actually.
Wow.
So
That's impressive.
I was just a few weeks away from being uneligible in the pool
Yeah.
like altogether, and I thought, oh, I'll just apply again. But they called me up, and it's funny, I was on a film set, and I ignored the call. I didn't recognize the number. And I was like, oh, if it's important, they'll leave a voicemail. And they left a voicemail, and and
That's awesome.
I didn't hear it until like maybe like 2 hours later. It was like later in the evening, and I was
Yeah.
heading home. I listened to the voicemail, and then I was like, whoa, like I didn't even know how to feel in the moment. I kind of like wrote it off. Like I was like, I guess
Yeah.
it won't happen. Like I'm doing this, so I'll be okay. And yeah, I didn't even know how to feel at first, but it was funny because they said contact us within the next 24 hours, or we'll give your spot away. I was like, I gotta call them back right right away. I
That's
was like,
fast.
I better reach back out. So I called them, left a voicemail. I emailed them, responded as much as I could, reach out to them, and then the next day during like normal business hours, like they're like, okay, we'll see you on this day to sign papers. I was like, wow, it's happening that quick, huh?
That's
Like
fast.
after all this
It's
time, I kind of yeah, I kind of like in my mind I kind of wrote it off, but
yeah.
they called me up and I was like, what's better, working 16 hours a day, multiple days a week, or working 8 hours a day for 5 days a week? And I was like,
Yep.
I think work-life balance wise, the electrician trade was the the better choice, and also the benefits as well too
Yeah.
was definitely a big draw. And yeah, I knew what the wage was, and I was like, I can definitely survive on that and provide for a family on that. So
Yeah.
those are big factors for me. But it took a little bit of like coming to peace with it for a minute of after all that time, and
Yeah.
kind of not thinking about it anymore. And I was like, oh yeah, I gotta make this decision right away, right away. So, but I'm happy I did. I don't regret it. My time in film was fun, but I don't want to trade what I have now for what I have then or anything
Yeah.
like that.
No, that makes sense. So I guess from my perspective, is it safe to say one of the reasons you chose the IBEW for a long-term career path was not only the pay, but the benefits, but also the work-life balance? Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
Cool. You're now a fifth year or fifth step apprentice, about to hit your sixth step within your apprenticeship, with a couple years left before journeying out. How different is the electrician you are today compared to your, I guess, you being a first year apprentice?
Ooh, dang. What's There's a lot of things, but one of the biggest things is that when you when you first step on a job site, the very first time, or go to the shop for the first time, whatever it may be, like you look around and you don't know the lay of the land, you don't know the people, you don't know what you're looking at, you're just like you just see stuff, you just see people moving around, you're like, I don't know what the purpose of any of these things are, I don't know what these people are doing, but
Yeah.
now it's kind of like you kind of have even though I'm only a little over 3 years in, like now when I step on a job site for the first time, it's like even though I may not know the people, I may
Yeah.
not know what work specifically they're doing, I look around and I'm like, okay, I recognize the materials, I can kind of guess what stage they're in. Maybe they're roughing in, or maybe they're doing finishing, whatever it may be. I can kind of like look around and be like, okay, yeah, I guess they're doing this, and I'll kind of
Yeah.
plan accordingly, take some stuff out of my tool pouch. Like, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, like putting things away that I don't need. And so it's kind of the experience I've gained in this like short amount of time. It's like it's definitely a big difference. Like day one versus today, there's like a huge difference. And I'm like, I tell people all the time, like people think I'm so smart or something. I'm just like, no, it's like if I can do it, anybody can do it, man. Like I didn't know anything before coming
Yeah.
in, so coming in and learning, like you will learn the things you need to learn to be able to not just do the work, but do it correctly and do it safely. I mean, assuming you have, good journeymen to work with and things like that.
That's
But
that's a big key. I
yeah,
can
makes a
still
big
remember
difference.
because I started out non-union residential before joining the union, but I can still remember clear as day the first time like driving a lift. I remember taking off in a lift
Mm.
and I smashed a door frame.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
it's kind of funny looking back now. At the time, I was mortified. Or the
yeah, I
first time I was
bet.
given a small little pipe run to do in this little
Mm.
office room. I was feeling confident, and I got humbled real fast because I was like, I don't know as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, yeah,
But as you progress, as long as you're a sponge and absorb information or willing to
right.
ask questions, 99.9% of experienced journeymen are willing to help you.
Yep,
And I
yep.
stand by that statement. Something myself, I've been to Maui, not necessarily Honolulu, but I know the cost of living over on the islands is quite a bit different, more expensive overall than here on the
Yeah.
mainland in the U.S. Being a young homeowner in Hawaii, I'm assuming probably comes with difficulties. How has the union pay, benefits, and stability changed what's possible for you and I believe your wife? Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, yes. Um, yeah, it's been great. It's, it's cool because you can kind of like accurately predict when your wage will increase and what
Yeah,
will it increase to, and they give us a pretty steady, like they give us a pretty fleshed out idea of like how steady the growth will be, as
yeah,
far as like just the pay goes, like as a um, fifth step, like I'm getting $31.10 an hour right now,
That's awesome.
and I pretty much after union dues and taxes and all that stuff, it pretty much like $950 in my pocket for
That
40 hours a week right now.
that's awesome.
Yeah, which is great. Just in
Yeah.
general, but it's only going higher, right? So that's
Yep.
even more so like something to look forward to. But owning a home in Hawaii is kind of like this idea growing up here that it's kind of like something that's not gonna happen.
Really.
There's a lot of people and not as much pe- not as much property. There's more people than property, obviously,
Yeah.
to go around. But there are other islands that are bigger, like the island of Hawaii or the Big Island we call it. It's much bigger. It takes like hours to
Hmm.
go drive around instead of like 45 minutes, no traffic here. It takes from going to one end to the other end, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, so it's definitely a challenge, but it's not impossible. I mean, it also helps that who I married, my wife, she also has a good job too. She makes more than me right now, so
Yeah.
between the two of us and our combined income, it's definitely doable. It's possible, and I never thought I would own a home here. The prevailing idea when
Yeah.
growing up here is sort of that you inherit your home from your grandparents or your parents or someone in your family, and that's just kind of what you wait for. You take care of what you have in the meantime, the house you grow up in, and then eventually that house becomes your house, and then so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
yeah, we were able to be able to qualify for first time home buyer loan here in Hawaii,
That's awesome.
and then be able to find a place that's like easy for us to get to and to be able to afford and to just be able to maintain. And right now, a big thing is the rail. There's like an overhead rail, sky rail being built in
Really.
here in Hawaii, and oh well, specifically on the island of Oahu. So I kind of
Hmm.
feel bad for the people who live on the other islands because they pay the tax too for it, but they don't get to use it, unfortunately.
Really.
Um, unless they visit, I suppose they visit the island. But one big thing of us getting the property here where we are is that there's a rail station close by. So I knew that in time, just over time in Hawaii, property value just goes up no matter what,
Yeah.
just because it's not the islands aren't getting bigger, but they're
Yeah.
becoming more populated. So the demand is getting higher, but the supply is not necessarily meeting the demand. So property just goes up and up and up and up. So for us, this was like a stepping stone investment. Like we're happy that we can own a place and have it, but we hope to be able to expand in the future as well too, which is entirely
Yeah.
possible. But in the meantime, between the two of us, like we make it work, and we're not just surviving. Like we're doing okay too. Like we're comfortable enough
That's
where we
awesome.
can enjoy our lives, not just grind, and hope it pays out one day. Like
Yeah.
we're doing all right. Maybe at the beginning it feels that way. You definitely see
Yeah.
the monthly mortgage payment, and you're like, is that how much they need? Like,
That is
and
true.
it just keeps going. But yeah, like my like I said, like my wage is going up kind of every 5 to 6 months approximately, and so that's also helping too. And then my wife as well too. Like she just got a raise recently too, so it's kind of like
That's awesome.
yeah, like we're doing okay. Like both our vehicles are paid off. We don't have any excess bills,
That's awesome.
anything crazy, or so. Yeah, it's possible. It's 100% possible, and it's 100% doable. I think the idea stops people more than anything, really.
That's awesome. And that's a big thing, like you kept touching on as an apprentice. Uh, you're going to continuously get those raises as you hit certain benchmarks of hours, or I don't know if it varies
Yep.
local to local. But as you hit more hours, your raise goes up, and then obviously once you top out and become a journeyman, you have your top
Yep.
out pay. And then I don't know necessarily how it works in Hawaii. I'm going to assume it's pretty similar to how it works in my home local. But every 3 years, we have a new contract negotiation, and that allocates more money
Mm.
towards whether it's our hourly take-home pay or benefits, which is a very large difference, in my opinion, coming from the non-union side. So it's a
Yeah,
pretty cool thing to have access to. Um,
definitely.
Local 1186 covers a unique market, which I'm assuming it's pretty cool. I've obviously never worked there, but being in Maui, I'm not sure how different it is from Honolulu, but the landscape's definitely a lot different than here in Ohio, for instance.
Yes.
Um, with the high cost of living and strong union culture, what do people on the mainland misunderstand about working union construction in Hawaii?
Mm.
I probably have a few misconceptions of it myself.
Yeah.
Because when anytime I see Hawaii or think of Hawaii, I instantly think of beach, the ocean, and just sitting on the beach all day, which I'm assuming doesn't happen. But what are some misconceptions that you have either encountered from others or that you think might be out there?
Yeah. I think one just like general misconception of Hawaii is that yeah, everyone outside just thinks we're on vacation all the time, pretty much, and we don't, have to work for a living, or we all live in grass huts on the beach, and we just surf every day and things like
Yeah,
that, and maybe there's a little bit of that, but for the most part, it's pretty similar to any other developed part of the U.S. For the
yeah,
most part. Um, it's yeah, like there's a lot of people that go to work every single day, and I'm talking like 7 days a week, like have multiple jobs.
yeah.
Like you mentioned, like higher cost of living, like that's definitely a challenge and a reality that we live in here, and we call it the price of paradise, price of living in paradise.
That's true.
But yeah, like it's for some, it's like totally worth it, and I think for like my wife and I, it's totally worth it. My family's been here since the lava rock came out of the water
Wow.
hundreds of years ago. Well, at least on my Hawaiian side, anyways.
Yeah,
But so there's a lot of misconceptions, but one of the biggest ones is yeah that we're like just chilling all the time and we're on vacation all the time and we're surfing all the time, and funny enough, like me growing up here, like kind of like with most things, like you kind of get passed along, whether it be traits or hobbies or things like that from family. Like no one in my family surfs. I've probably been surfing my whole life, like 3 times, like less than a
really.
handful of times. So I tell people that, and they're like, what? And then I
Yeah,
just I figure out wherever they're from. Like if they're from Texas, like I'd be like, so do you hunt like every day in Texas? Like it's the same idea. Like not everybody does all that stuff that you think about when it comes to that
that's
state or
true.
that area, or anything like that. So for the most part, it's similar to most other places, but it's also like obviously it has a unique beauty and tropical beauty to it, and unique in that way. But what makes Hawaii Hawaii is truly it's the people and
Yeah,
it's the culture. Because if not, it'd just be another destination or just another vacation spot. But the reason why people keep coming back, and why some people never leave is truly because of the culture and the people and surrounding that.
that's that's true. When I don't know how it differs from island to island, but while I was in Maui, you could tell the people there, the locals that were there, were very culture oriented and very proud of their culture, and they were very happy to like explain and show the culture, which I
Yeah,
greatly appreciated. So that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, for someone in Hawaii who feels stuck bouncing between jobs like you once were, what would you tell them about taking a chance on the trades?
Man, so it's funny because I look back and I'm like, dang, I wish I started a little sooner.
That that right there is something everyone I've talked to, whether it's on a job site
Yeah,
through interviews, that is one thing that remains 100% consistent no matter
yeah,
their ages. I wish I would have started sooner.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel good. Like, I'm 30 years old. Like, I'm healthy. Like, my body is great. I'm not like, you know, getting out of bed in the morning and hearing like the cracks in my knees or whatever. I'm not like anything like that. Like I don't drink anything. I don't smoke anything. Like I'm in
That's
really
awesome.
good health, but so it's not like I dread the physicality of it or anything like that. I just kind of wish I hadn't like thrown myself around here and there before, like just making money wherever I could make money. I mean,
Yeah,
I've had great I have great jobs before, and I've met great people before, and like very thankful for those experiences and those people who took the time to teach me things about the other jobs I had and whatnot, and I really appreciate them and those people. But I do wish um, I had started a little bit sooner, maybe,
yeah,
but if I had started a little sooner, COVID probably would have cut me off. So maybe it was for the best that I started after COVID,
yeah.
just after. And but for anyone who's thinking about it or not sure what to do, like I work with on the job site I'm on now. There's another apprentice. Oh, he's more like a groundsman, I guess, but
Yeah.
he's he's young. He's 20 years old. He started when he was 19, and he's like, I'm not sure, what I want to do. I'm not sure what I want to do. Me and him always have this conversation, like at least once a week, I want to say. And
Yeah.
he's like, he's always kind of in this mindset where he's like, I'm not sure if this is what I want to do, and I tell him it's like,
Yeah.
you know, if you want to do something else, that's okay. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, you're in a great place and you're doing great things and you're learning a lot of great skills.
Yep.
So while you make up your mind, you're good for now. Like, and
Yeah.
if you do want to do this, or you want this to be your springboard into something else, just keep showing up every day and keep getting your hours in and keep learning what you're
Yeah.
doing. Like, and eventually like you'll build something for yourself separate of anyone else. He's like second generation. His father
That's
is
awesome.
a electrician, so but he's yeah, he's just kind of not sure if that's what he wants to do with himself or not. And but little by little he's building his own name, I told him, and he's in the right place. So I say, if you're gonna figure it out, this is the place to be. Don't go to college and just hope you figure it out
Yep.
by the end of those 4 years. Like you want to have a you want to have a track that you're already on while you figure out where you're going, and this is a good
And,
place to be, I told him.
and that's actually, so I was interviewing the bricklayer, or there's more to it than just bricklayers, but he's the president of the bricklayers in Chicago,
Okay.
Local 21, earlier today. And we touched on that in basically student loan debt, going to college versus the trades, this, that, and the other. And the one benefit that individual you're just talking about is he's young. So whether he joined, or he's obviously in the trade right now, say he sticks it out for a year or two and is finally like, this isn't for me, he's still very well young enough to go off, go to college if that's what he wants to do, or pursue a
Hmm.
different career path. But he's obtained some sort of skill set, and he should have, or hopefully have, a little money set aside to help fund
Yeah.
whatever his next thing is. So,
Yep.
um, I mean, I completely get being that young, not fully sure if this is what I want to do. Because when I was his age, I was doing a bunch of different things. I wasn't sure. I thought I was going to be a nurse. I went to college to begin with. I
Mm.
thought I was going to be a nurse. That didn't work out. Both my really good friends are in the police field. I was like, I want to become a cop. I got my
Yeah.
degree and was like, I don't want to be a cop, and here I am today. So it's never too late, or you're never too old or too young to make a career change. But like you
No.
kind of
No.
hinted on, he's going to, at least he's in a good place right now, which is very important, especially in today's economy. He's gaining a skill set and he's earning some pretty good money along the way. So he'll
Yep.
figure it out, I'm sure.
Yep,
Um,
definitely. And it's a good place to be, no matter, like you said, no matter what age. And funny enough, I work with a guy who finished his apprenticeship at 59 years old, 59
I,
years old,
wow,
and he just, like no joke, he just retired like a few months ago at like
that's
65.
that's
and
awesome.
he was a machinist before. He had a career prior to, but
Yeah,
for whatever reason, yeah, he just decided to pick up an apprenticeship in the IBEW, and he
that's pretty cool.
finished his apprenticeship at 59 and then retired at 65. I saw him. We have our union meetings on Thursdays, so
Yeah,
I saw him. No joke, I saw him Tuesday. That on the job site, I saw him on Tuesday, and then I didn't see him Wednesday, and then I saw him at the meeting on Thursday, and he was not in his dirty work clothes. He was in a nice collared shirt, his aloha shirt, and I was like, I won't say his name, but I saw him
Yeah,
and I was like, I was like, whoa! And I jokingly, I was like, did you retire? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, really?
that's
And
funny.
he was like, yep. He's like, yep, I retired. I was like, Tuesday was your last day. He's like, yep. I was like, wow. Like, I mean,
That is
I knew
awesome.
you were like wanting to do that. I just didn't know how soon you were to doing that. So
Yeah,
it was pretty funny to see. Like, yeah, one day he was there, and the next day he was retired.
and I think that's important to mention. Like in my apprenticeship class, I topped out in my last classes were in the middle of 2023. But when my final or my apprenticeship class, we had I think he was definitely in his mid 50s. He wasn't quite 59, but he made the jump from non-union in his mid 50s. Joined our
Wow.
apprenticeship, went through. We had a few 40 plus year olds, and then we had everyone down to the age of like 19 and 20.
Yeah.
So it's never too late, and in my
No,
opinion,
never.
someone being that old wanting to obtain an apprenticeship, especially in the
Yeah.
union, I think signifies how well worth it they are. Um, I think that's pretty cool.
Right.
Um, I have one last question for you. When you finally journey out, what does success look like for you? Is it leadership, teaching apprentices, providing for your family, or something bigger for your community? Maybe it's a little bit of all those, but what does success ultimately look for you as a journeyman?
Yeah. Yeah. Success is very hard to define. I feel no matter who
That's true.
you are and what you're doing, but I think like ultimately the things I find joy in are the things that I personally invest more time in. So
Yeah,
um, one thing recently that my pastor has challenged me and two of my other partners to do is to open up the Bible and teach the word to people our age and younger. And
yeah,
I don't know what your relationship with like reading the Bible or anything or ever reading the Bible or anyone really, but it's a daunting task to
that
open up the Bible and teach other people about it. And me not having obviously any formal background is just
yeah,
even more of a testament to the leadership in the church I'm in, and also
yeah,
like the power of God's word working in me and through me as well too.
yeah,
And that specifically is a daunting task in and of itself. So outside of that, nothing else feels difficult.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that to like be facetious or whatever, but
Hmm.
it really feels like that's the most challenging thing I might ever do, as like a normal day to day thing. And it's not that I'm there every Sunday or whatever. It's more like unique speaking events and things like that. But even so, like it's difficult. But I found that I really enjoy teaching or just passing on knowledge in general.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
things I've
awesome.
learned, and so I think it transfers very well into the trades as well too, where that younger um, groundsman I mentioned, I'm always like stopping and like showing him. I'm drawing pictures on the wall like this is
Yeah,
how electricity works. It needs to be a continuous loop, and just like showing him the wire comes from the panel, it goes to the receptacle,
yeah,
it goes back to the panel, and just like things like that. And he's I mean he's taking it in, but even if he wasn't, I think I'd still teach him anyways.
yeah.
Like even if he wasn't too interested, I'd be like, yeah, this is really fun. So I think like once I journey out, I think there's always a possibility, the chance that maybe I'll go back and put time back in and be an instructor myself and
That's
invest
awesome.
in the next generation as well. And just to be able to do that, I think is great. Like to be able to bring up and teach the next generation to be able to pick up the tools and learn how to use them well and give them
Yeah,
knowledge and let them know how to apply it and when it's appropriate to apply it. But something I think that's even more important is like soft skills, like communication, like just being able
that's a
to traverse social dynamics with people, your peers, your superiors, and things like that. I think that that's something that's not really mm, not really
talked
focused
about.
on or highlighted enough. Yeah, yeah, like not enough people talk about it for sure, and how important those skills, people skills, are as well too. I'm just fortunate. I have two outgoing parents, and I'm outgoing as well too. So, in
Yeah,
some ways, I kind of have the skills come naturally, but there's definitely people who have to work at them more than others, and it's totally possible. I've seen the most introverted people at least gain like a base level of like social interactions and social cues and things like that, and so it's possible. You just have to be willing
yeah,
to do it, open yourself up to doing it, and I think that's something that I would, were I in a position to sort of teach the next generation of apprentices, whether as a journeyman or as an instructor. I
hmm
think that's something that I would capitalize on as well too. Is like just helping people understand how important like building relationships are and building a network is, and just being able to, just be able to reach out and kind of like maybe even conversate with anyone. It
yeah,
doesn't have to be the most enticing conversation in the world, every time, but
yeah,
for you to be able to connect with a stranger at a base level and see someone as a human being and not just that journeyman or that foreman or that general
yeah.
foreman or whatever it may be, and it kind of helps you humanize people and see them in a different way, and then when you see people that way you start to treat them better as well too,
That's true,
and
and
I think that's beneficial.
I fully agree. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects of any construction trade, and I do think communication, at least in my opinion, I was actually speaking with an apprenticeship director earlier today as well, and that was one of the things we touched on. Is you could have a really young foreman, for example, they may not know everything, but if they're well spoken, can communicate well, especially the older people on their crews are going to be a lot more receptive to
Mm.
giving insight, giving advice, and helping. But yeah, communication in every facet of life is a
Yeah.
large aspect.